often the decisive moment in a game when one player is selected to try to kick this ball into the goal, and there must be better expressions for it, to score, and there's an enormous pressure at that moment on this player. Everything depends on it. His whole nation sometimes is watching, and so it's of incredible importance, not on a cosmic scale, but on a relative scale. And so researchers examined what happens when the referee whistles, and then that is a signal for the player to shoot. And those players who do not pause, who immediately shoot after they hear the whistle, are much less likely to score than those players who, when the whistle goes, they don't immediately shoot. There's a 3, 4, 5 seconds, or even more, when they become still. And then it happens, and the likelihood of scoring is infinitely greater than those players who do not stop. So this, when you ask for an explanation, well, people will give some kind of mental, verbal explanation, say, well, they concentrate, that gives them a moment of concentration. But what does that mean when we say they concentrate for a moment? The question I'd like to ask is, what happens in that moment of going within? So the attention, which is usually would be on the desired outcome, and the pressure, the attention on the self, me, I have to perform, that the attention is taken away from all that, and there is a redirecting of attention into the depths. And so at that moment, I believe, because I'm familiar with that process, I believe it is the basis of the creative process, and it's in football, in soccer, it is a rudimentary expression of the creative process. A redirecting of attention within, where you touch a deeper layer, a deeper level of your being, and that is where all power resides. And when you touch that power, at that moment, all conceptual things, including the concept of me, conceptual self, goes. There's simply a deep, intensely alive stillness. And out of that stillness comes the power. And that power is not my power or your power, it is universal power. And that power then can either become a masterful kick of the ball, or it can flow into other channels, and it can be born into form. It could be a mental. I believe that also scientists, after they've done a lot of thinking, as you mentioned, there's a moment of cessation of thinking, and often in that moment of stillness. And stillness is not just the absence of thinking, there is a power in the stillness. There is non-conceptual intelligence in the stillness. Intelligence, when we measure intelligence with IQ tests, all we measure is conceptual intelligence. But there is a much vaster intelligence in every human being that is non-conceptual, not words and concepts. You can't analyze it, but everybody has that within potentially, and I believe that is the source of creativity. Now, this does not mean that when I am asked to kick this ball and score a goal, that I go deeply within and it's going to happen. Now, why doesn't it happen? I've gone deeply within, I've contacted the source of power, and it's not working. Or if they ask me to come up with a great theory of physics, okay, I'm going to become still, and then perhaps the theory of relativity or something, or the unified field theory, or the answer to everything is going to come to me. It's not because I don't know anything about physics. So it can only come, there must be a vehicle that is ready for the power to flow into. The vehicle could be the human mind. There must be something that has already been prepared for that in the world of form.